Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Pure Pathways for another episode from our Animals in the Quran series. Today we have the lovely Murnaz joining us, and together we'll be discussing a creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was mentioned 15 times in the Quran, the camel. Camels have been an important part of life in the Arab world for centuries. Because they have the strength to carry people and goods and survive for long periods without water or food, they were the best form of transportation in the dry deserts of the Middle East.
The Quran recognizes their importance in Surah Al-Ghashiyah, Ayah 17, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. So, why did Allah mention this animal?
He wanted the people of Quraysh to think about the way He created the camel for their everyday use. Without camels, they wouldn't have been able to travel for long periods of time in the hot desert. This ayah encourages us to think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's amazing creation. But what's so special about the camel anyway?
Let's look at some amazing camel facts that will make you say, Subhanallah.
As you know, deserts are scorching hot during the day and frigid during the night. But that's not a problem for camels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them in a way where they can adjust their own body temperature to keep cooler during the day and warmer during the nights.
Sinking sand or rocky roads? Not a problem. A camel's feet are created to walk on all types of land. Each foot has 2 toes that are connected together, creating a flexible cushion. These toes can spread widely to make walking on sand easier.
A camel's knees are covered with a structure called a callus, which is made of skin that is very hard and thick. When the camel lays down on the hot sand, this callus protects the animal from burning its skin.
Camels can survive for 3 weeks without water and for 8 days without food. This is because its hump is made of fat and provides nutrition to the animal.
Camels have very strong and rubber-like lips that make it possible for them to eat any vegetation, even those with sharp thorns. And if the camel's snack is high up in the trees, that's not a problem for this animal that was created with a long neck.
Camels have a very strong digestive system, so they can eat almost anything, prickly vegetation, meat, or bones, salty, sweet, or bitter. A camel's stomach knows no limits. Camels can even eat cacti with its needles.
Facing a sandstorm in the desert? No problem. A camel's eyelashes are designed like 2 separate combs clamping together. In case of danger, they will close automatically. So with this special design, even a single grain of sand will not get into its eyes. Even the camel's nose and ears are covered with long hairs for protection from sand and dust.
For all these reasons, the Arabs called the camel the ship of the desert, crossing the desert with people and goods like the ship crosses the sea.
The camel is also mentioned in the Quran in the story of Prophet Saleh alayhi salam, who was sent to the people of Thamud. Thamud lived at Al-Hijr, which is in northern Saudi Arabia. They were a community of idol worshippers run by 9 families who oppressed others to stay in power. They carved elaborate homes into the mountains, and they became arrogant, thinking that their strength made them indestructible.
When Prophet Saleh told them he had been sent to teach them about worshipping the true God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they laughed at him. They mockingly asked for a very specific miracle to prove that he was a prophet. Bring us a live camel from within the rocks. So Allah gave them exactly that. A camel that emerged from the same mountains from which they carved their homes. But even after they saw this miracle with their own eyes, they refused to leave their idol worshipping.
Prophet Saleh alayhi salam ordered them to leave the camel alone and let it drink from the well, otherwise they would face a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in an act of disobedience, the disbelievers came up with a plan. 9 men, one from each ruling family, had a meeting in which they decided to kill the camel together.
They went on to slaughter the camel and eat her meat. The townspeople stood by and watched them commit this sin. They encouraged disobedience by cheering loudly for the men. This made them just as guilty and deserving of punishment. When Prophet Saleh heard what had happened, he hurried to warn everyone, but it was too late. The The people mocked him, saying, "O Saleh, bring us the punishment you promised if you are telling the truth."
Prophet Saleh alayhi salam responded, "Enjoy yourselves in your homes for 3 days. That is a promise that will not be denied." He and the believers fled the city for safety, and after 3 days passed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shook the ground beneath the disbelievers. He released thunderbolts from the sky and struck them all dead with a horrific and loud sound. Their strong buildings and their skills could not protect them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment.
The people of Thamud were wiped out, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left their homes behind for us as a reminder. Their ruins serve as an example to those who challenge the power of Allah. Today, tourists flock the city of Al-Hijr to see the abandoned homes of Thamud and remember the story of Prophet Saleh.
It looks like the camel has taught us a lot about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's amazing creation, obedience to his prophets, and the importance of speaking up when we see others doing wrong. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. See you next time for another animal story from the Quran. May all your pathways be pure. Assalamu alaikum.